Frit tinting is a versatile technique to create your own unique color variations. This tutorial will discuss what frit tinting is, variations you can achieve when using this technique, volume calculations for kiln casting, and introduce you to a fun and simple project. Now, let's get started. Frit tinting involves using clear frit that is tinted with a small amount of colored frit powder. The amount of colored frit powder used relative to the amount of clear frit will directly influence the color density of the finished object. By experimenting with different amounts of colored frit powder, you can achieve a wide range of color variations from one style of frit powder. To explain the variations you can achieve, I have made a series of samples. The lowest row of samples contains fine clear frit. The middle row contains medium clear frit. And the top row contains coarse clear frit. The clear frit is tinted with deep sky blue transparent frit powder to different percentages based on volume. The percentages I use to make the samples are 2%, 5%, 7%, and 10%. Exploring different frit percentages puts you in control of creating exactly the right color. We recommend testing before you start a project. Now let's take a closer look at color variations using the medium frit samples as an example. The 2% tint is a subtle step away from clear. Notice the significant difference between the 2% sample and the 5% sample. Even more saturated is the 7% tint sample. And finally, the most saturated sample at a 10% tint. Variations in the finished object will also result by using different frit grain sizes. Notice the differences between the samples using fine, medium, and coarse frit. The fine frit sample looks almost opaque. The medium sample maintains more clarity. The clarity is even more apparent in the coarse sample. The large grain size of the coarse frit will result in less bubbles than the smaller grains. The sample using fine frit traps more tiny air bubbles, making it appear more opaque. The sample using medium traps less air bubbles than the fine sample, but more than the coarse sample. It is important to emphasize that tinting coarse frit will result in a less uniform color than if using medium or fine. The reason for this occurrence is the larger grain size of the coarse frit. The powder used to tint only covers the surface, which allows for larger pockets of clear, resulting in a more pattern effect than if using smaller grain sizes, which have much less surface area. Now that you've seen some color variations when frit tinting, let's dive into how the process works by creating a project. To begin our project, we first need to create a mold. For this simple casting project, our mold will be primed molite dams. Using dams as a mold is a great way to introduce yourself to casting without having to create a plaster silica mold. Priming the dams will also reduce the amount of cold working you will have to do to the object after casting. Prime and dry your dams according to the manufacturer's instructions. Once your dams have dried, scrape the edges to remove any drips. The drips will prevent your dams from sitting level on the kiln shelf and prevent you from having a tight seal where they intersect. To do this, I use the same razor I use when removing old primer from my kiln shelf. Now we are ready to assemble our dams. The object will be 6 inches by 6 inches. We'll discuss thickness and volume calculation in a later step. For now, let's focus on a quality assembly. Assemble your dams in a pinwheel formation. A pinwheel will help ensure no glass flows through the intersections between dams. Make sure your dams are flush against one another at the intersections and fit together squarely. Once your dams are assembled, place kiln bricks behind them as reinforcement to ensure they will not move during the casting process. To create a successfully cast object using frit tinting, we must first begin by making a volume calculation. This calculation will tell us how much total glass we need to fill our mold. It will also tell us how much colored frit powder we need to tint our clear frit to the desired percentage. Creating a volume calculation is easy with a simple formula. The first step is to convert our dimensions from inches to centimeters. Our object will be 6 inches by 6 inches by 3/8 inch. This converts to 15.24 centimeters by 15.24 centimeters by 0.95 centimeters. Next, multiply the length, width, and height of the expected finished object. The total is our volume in centimeters cubed. In this case, the total volume of the object is 221 centimeters cubed. Now that we have our volume in centimeters cubed, we can calculate the amount of glass needed to fill the space. To do this, we simply take our volume in centimeters cubed and multiply it by the specific gravity of Wissmach glass. The specific gravity of Wissmach glass is 2.5. By multiplying 221 centimeters cubed by 2.5, we find that we will need 553 grams of Wissmach glass to fill the mold. Finally, we need to calculate the amount of frit powder required to tint our clear frit. To do this, multiply the total amount of glass in grams by the desired percentage. I am making a 5% tint using deep sky blue transparent frit powder. By multiplying 553 by 0.05, I find I need 28 grams of frit powder to create a 5% tint. The last step is to subtract the 28 grams of frit powder from the 553 grams of total glass. Now I know I need 525 grams of clear frit and 28 grams of frit powder to create my object using a 5% frit tint. Now I'm ready to start mixing my colors. A large empty frit container or a sandwich bag work very well when mixing. Start by adding the clear frit. I'm using medium clear frit for my project. Once I've weighed my 525 grams, I add a small amount of water to the frit using a spray bottle. The water will help the frit powder cling to the clear frit. Once the clear frit is wet, add the colored frit powder to tint. After adding the color, close the container and shake well until all the clear frit is coated in the colored powder. When your clear frit is tinted, carefully pour it into your mold. Once you've added your frit, make it as level as you can in the mold. Your hands and fingers work very well for this. Finally, make a small trench at the top of the frit where it makes contact with the prime dam. Doing so will help ensure you do not have any needle points in your finished object. Make this trench on all sides where the frit meets the prime dam. Now fire the object using the following schedule as a guideline. Once the piece has completely cooled, remove the bricks and the dams. Now, re-clean the object in preparation for slumping. We'll be using a sushi mold for this project. Place the object on the mold and fire using the following slumping schedule as a guideline. We hope that you have enjoyed this look into frit tinting and can't wait to see what projects you make using this technique in your own studios. Happy kiln forming!